B.O.N.E.
Yeah.
Let's talk, dude.
Let's do it, man. Wow. I changed it up that time.
You did. That was a little weird, bro.
I don't know what I just said.
Hey, you.
That's good.
Want to give him a little introduction?
Special guest tonight, we have Mike Campbell. And Mike's a member of the baseball team here at Manhattan College. And we've gotten pretty close over the last year. And had some pretty profound spiritual experiences, personal experiences, professional experiences, and just an overall well-rounded individual. Mike, what's up, man? Please don't say your name, major, and all that stuff. Just give us your authentic self. Just tell the audience a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do no eyewash. Don't worry about it. No, but I mean, I don't know what really else there is to say. You covered pretty much all of it, but you guys know me. I'm just here to vibe, and that's it.
He's a big viber. He's big vibes.
Yo, honestly, that's all the audience needs to know. Just
I'm here to vibe.
Kid walks into the room and like you just feel chill. Just chill vibes. Like gives a fuck but doesn't at the same time. Just lit. Before we start, bro, like Zach put me onto the word eyewash.
Yeah.
And it's been fucking with me. Because, like, I have no idea what it means, but I know when to say it.
I got it from Mike, so he's the guy to tell you.
That's why I'm asking. So,
Dude, there's no definition for eyewash.
I knew it.
No, yeah, there's no definition. You know there's no definition. You know there's no definition. You were searching for a definition that didn't exist.
So, at least the way I use it, it's like things that society says matters, but you know it really doesn't matter. So we get, caught up on our own habits, our own goals, our own direction, and we lose sight of what really matters. And when we realize that, like that's eyewash. Like things that don't matter, things that you're complaining about, or things that, things that worry and stress, cause you stress every day that shouldn't need to cause you stress, that's eyewash.
Yes. All right, word. So for me, it's like when I feel like something's off, like it just doesn't feel like it makes sense. It's just like that's fucking eyewash. Like that's eyewash. Like why you don't put that into my life?
Yeah, just bad vibes. Honestly, eyewash is bad vibes.
That's what I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Is it eyewash even trying to define it right now?
Probably.
Yes, it's absolutely beyond eyewash.
Word. All right. So
Mike, what do you want to talk about tonight? Because you have a couple things on your mind that I know that we have talked about for a little bit now. And I think our audience has heard a lot of self-actualization and goal setting and direction and, like we've kind of ingrained this message of, get it done, figure it out, right? But, you coming from the opposite side of things where you're a little bit more chill and you allow things to happen. So what are some of the things that you do to just allow yourself to let things happen?
Breathe. Like, even just today, like I noticed just by paying attention to my breathing patterns, I was able to change my emotions within minutes. Also, within minutes, I almost fell asleep because I was able to change so quickly.
Do you want to get into the science of that? Because there's definitely like parasympathetic type shit.
We can if you'd like.
Yeah. Well, no, I think people would appreciate
Absolutely.
that because I think like individuals will hear like, oh, breathing solves my problems or like my anger management or just shit like that. And then people are like, oh, that's bullshit. There's no way. But I think it's important for like, especially younger individuals, whoever does watch this, it's important for them to know like what it actually does.
Yeah. I mean, today when I was in a bit of a rut, to say the least, I got to my class after feeling like this. When I sat down, I looked up at the ceiling, and I took a deep inhale through my nose, which, scientifically speaking, is going to be activating your sympathetic nervous system. And something that I struggle to do is activate my parasympathetic nervous system, which would be caused by a deep exhale. So just by doing that, changed a lot. But I think the important thing to note is how valuable it is to just have the knowledge and be aware of how true the knowledge is. Not just that it exists, but how like it's actually truthful. and that if you apply it, it will affect you.
Because it's super applicable, and I mean they've done studies that like the longer exhale, like you inhale for 4 seconds, pause for 1, exhale for 5 seconds, pause for 1, right? The
Filling
longer,
up the belly, right?
yeah, filling up the belly, the diaphragmatic breathing with your belly and not your chest. So if you're sitting at home right now and you're listening to this, or in your car or wherever you are listening to this episode, and you're consciously breathing, notice what your chest is doing. If your chest is rising and falling, then you're breathing, in a hyperventilative state. But if you're diaphragmatic breathing, which is what Mike is referring to, you're inhaling and exhaling through your stomach. So you're allowing your stomach to expand and contract, and you're using your muscle known as your diaphragm to carry the air in and out of your system. Now, the longer exhale, or paying attention on the exhale, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest, digest, and relaxation.
Yeah.
And so when we, like you said, can acknowledge that you have the choice to do that, and then doing it, it can be you could massively change your emotions like this.
Yeah. I mean, just like what you said there about choice, right?
Yeah.
What do people often think about choice? People often think that they don't have a choice when it comes to stuff that's internal, right? You think that you're just wired the way you are, right? That's what most people assume about themselves.
100%.
But it's not true. And people just aren't aware of it, simply put. And once you bring that awareness, however you find it, through whatever sort of state, that's where you realize that it's all cap.
It's cap.
And that you can do it. You do have a choice.
For those who don't know what cap means, it's a lie.
Bullshit. Basically. And I think the hard part is recognizing that it's bullshit. Like recognizing that you do have a choice, that like you can take a step back, or literally take a moment to completely pause, look up at the ceiling, take a deep breath, collect yourself, and just find peace within a moment. And I think everybody's like, go, 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 and taking that moment isn't going to help. It's going to stop. It's going to like hold me back even further to where I want to be. But like at the end of the day, that one single moment will take you so much further than you would have went if you didn't take it.
Building momentum.
Yeah, bro. It's like building momentum.
So when we pause, we allow ourselves to actually build momentum the correct way.
Yeah.
Instead of continuing to just roll over and
hyperventilate
and be stressed and kind of go through the motions. What are your thoughts on going through the motions? Like just doing the same shit every day without even realizing that you're doing it.
It's eyewash.
Well,
yeah,
mega.
This term is going to be used so fucking much today.
Yeah.
But actually,
going through the motions is something that, like, we do because, like, we quote unquote have to do because we have our like responsibilities, like just anything that's a daily task. Like we have to just go through the motions sometimes. But if you only go through the motions and you don't take that pause, right, like we were saying, then you're going to be just in a constant state of just you're stuck. And
reacting.
You're just reacting. You're not actually being like a person. You're just a robot.
Yo, fuck, bro. I was just going to say, like, you're not being a human being.
Yeah.
Like, that's
so what does being a human being really mean then?
That's the thing. I can't fucking tell you right now. But
well, I think it's like you're being conscious of your decisions. For example, when you go and reach out to a door handle to open up a door, are you doing that because you've just done it a million times and that's gut natural reaction for you to do that? Or are you intentionally feeling the temperature of the doorknob or the texture of the doorknob or the handle or whatever it is? Being conscious of that.
No, see, that's the thing. I want to go completely against that. So today in philosophy, we were talking about taking walks through nature, but taking the same exact route the entire, like, every single time, and how it's kind of like muscle memory. Like, you know where you are. You could like do it with your eyes closed, essentially. So your body's going to be moving, but your mental could be like somewhere else. In a sense, that could be living too and being present, because even though you're being physically active, your brain and like your thoughts could be on something completely different, but something that's meant to be thought about. Does that make sense? Like, we had the conversation today.
Yeah.
And I don't know, with you in baseball, like, when something is just muscle memory and it literally happens, like, via your autonomic nervous system, your brain could be, I don't know, somewhere productive or somewhere toxic. I think there's a fine line.
I mean, in relation to baseball, like, yeah, there's definitely like a fine line.
Because it's like, yo, for example, ground ball. I don't know. It's like, all right, sometimes like ball is too much, and you're gonna miss the ground ball. Like thinking, like overthinking. But sometimes like just letting your body take over and not thinking about it, it just happens.
Yeah, like when I swing a bat, like I don't think, I'm just swinging.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like when you've done something so many times, like obviously, like scientifically, like your body just knows how to do it. But like you also you don't have to try it. And then, but you might have to try if you start not doing what you want to do, in a sense, which is when bringing your awareness to it is when that usually happens, because you're most likely not going to be aware of every moving part in your body when you're swinging a bat. Every swing, you're not, because you have to focus on the other objective, which is hitting the ball, right?
So are you more focused on hitting the, like, what are your thoughts at the plate?
My thoughts at the plate are nothing mechanical, clear-headed as much as I can be, and just predicting and guessing sequences as best as I can from the pitcher. That's all I think about. Strategy. If I don't strategize, I'm going up there guessing in a bad way, not guessing like percentages. Like, you know, in your head what pitch is going to be coming because you've done your research about the pitcher prior to the game. You've scouted him. You know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then you're going to go in the box and you're just going to
guess or react to, like, more so like you're going to go up there without a clue.
No.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for mindless activities, right? Because although I'm a big mindfulness guy and I preach a lot about being intentional and attentional about what you're doing, there's power, like you guys just said, in being mindless. But finding that balance of being mindful and mindless when appropriate, I feel like that's when you're able to recognize when it's important to be mindful and when it's important to be mindless.
Like, is it really that serious to recognize the temperature of a doorknob?
If you're going crazy and you're thinking about just,
sometimes it is.
Right. Sometimes
Yes.
it's very necessary to just direct your sensation outwards.
It's not about like the task, you know what I mean? It's not about grabbing the doorknob and feeling the temperature. It's about like being so here, like right now to the point where you forget what just happened. You forget the last moment. You forget everything up until right now, and then the next moment comes, and then you're just there. You're always there, and you're always super aware of what is going on within you. Maybe not externally, but within you. And you feel, you see, you smell, you hear, you everything, and you just understand.
So in your eyes, is forgetting important? Like, obviously there's power in remembering and memory and that sort of thing, right? But is there power in also being able to forget? When you recognize that you're forgetting things, does that mean that you're present?
In my opinion, yes, that's exactly what that means. Because even as something as silly as just forgetting, like, that you just ate a meal, like something that you just wouldn't normally give a crap about. If you forget that and you go to the next thing and you're just there, say you were eating and now you're at the gym and you're just focused at the gym. You're not thinking about if that meal was going to fuel me for this workout. You're not thinking about that anymore. You're here. Like, yes, forgetting shows you, it literally is an example live in human form that you are present. And yes, we need to remember things, obviously, but there's a time and place to remember, and remembering for the most part gets people in places they don't want to be.
Word. Yo, like, you're just, like, you're talking. It's the most wild thing right now. Like, you're talking, and I'm, like, saying what you're about to say in my head.
I can tell by your reactions that you're.
Can you?
Yes.
Bro, like, my eyes are just, like, going crazy right now. Like, I was going to say, like, there's a time and place to remember. So, as you were talking, I was just thinking about, like, you said lifting, and that main part of my life. And I was thinking of an example of, like, a squat or a bench or a deadlift and missing a lift. And if I were to miss one single bench press attempt, if I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, the entirety of my workout ruined. Finished. I might as well leave the gym. In that moment, it's not smart to remember it. When I go home, when I shower, decompress, and I could like maybe meditate or just be self-aware for the day, that's the time for me to be like, okay, I missed this bench press attempt. Why? I think that's super important.
I think that can bring us to the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about as well.
Bro, dive into it. Yeah, dive into it.
Which is attachment. Because if you really think about it, like, which most people don't, attachment isn't just like things that are like really big. Like, it's stuff that like is tiny that like just gets stored in your subconscious mind that you just don't even realize you're attached to. And there are certain things that maybe like bug you throughout the day and you're just like, why is that bothering me? It's probably because you're attached to it and you don't even understand why or how, in what sense you are. But like connecting that to your bench, you know what I mean? Like, you were attached to the idea that like if you don't get that one extra rep or whatever the case is, that like your self-doubt comes into it.
Word, yeah.
Right?
It's like competence, confidence,
but
shit like that.
You know, and in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter?
Word. There's so many things like affecting it. And in that moment, like my reaction would be, I just missed it. Like, I'm a failure, or like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being a little bit dramatic right now, but that sometimes that's the thoughts that run through people's heads. But in all reality, I didn't sleep well that night. I didn't eat the best that day. I'm anxious about a certain test or something. There's something going on that caused that. But in the moment, I'm just thinking, fuck, I missed the lift. I'm not being, there's a word I'm looking for. I'm not going to find it. But you guys get it.
Yeah. Well, someone can be listening to this and saying, well, in the present moment, I'm thinking about, or in the present moment, I am not forgetting. Like, in the present moment, I'm thinking about that, right? But if you think about it, if you're thinking about what you just previously did, you're not in the present moment. So although you might be presently thinking that, you're not, your attention is not on where you are this second.
Because you attached yourself to it.
Yeah.
At the grand scheme of things, it's the attachment factor.
And Mike brought up a great point. Right before we started here, I said vividly out loud, I was like, I need my notepad in front of me. And I looked at him and I was like, did you catch that? Like, I just said need. Like, I need my notepad. And that's a small little attachment that I've had in the back of my mind, thinking that I need the notepad in front of me. Granted, it's right here in front of me right now because I got it. But something as little as attaching yourself to a notepad, and something as big as attaching yourself to a phone, or something as big as attaching yourself to another person.
Or a drug like nicotine, caffeine. Right. Just granted, there's physiological effects of it, but it's still at the end of the day, like, you need it. You're attached to it. Without it, can you function?
Mike, how do you get rid of that feeling of,
of
needing something?
I think the first thing you can do is stop saying that word, need. Like, seriously. Like, I don't think I've said that word in the last, 2 months. And, if I have, it's been a joke. But, even joking about it, you're still attaching as much as you don't think you are. Like, it's even if you think you're joking about it. Your subconscious mind doesn't know what a joke is. It just does.
Yeah.
What about want? Is want the same as need?
No.
Okay.
I think those are two different words in the sense that when you need something, you kind of obviously you attach to it, but if you're just attaching to an idea, it's not as bad as attaching to the physical thing, like having it and then not having it and then saying you need it. So this notebook, if it wasn't here and you still said you needed it, then that means that you're attached to it, something that's not here that you've had. If you've never had it, but you're just saying you need it because you think you do, then that's different. But want, if you want something, then it's not, you don't have it right now and you never have had it. Let's say. So let's say that's the hypothetical. Therefore, I don't even think it makes sense to compare the two, because like wanting doesn't attach ideas to anything unless you allow yourself to confuse wanting for needing.
I see. So let's say, for example, I want to be the best mental performance coach in the world.
You could attach to that idea.
I could attach to that idea, and as soon as that want becomes an attachment,
it becomes a need.
That's when it becomes a need.
Yes, absolutely. So like, they do correlate, but there's a fine line in which if you cross it, then you need it now. You think you need it.
So my question is, how do you constantly hold yourself accountable? Like, how do you just recognize? Like, is it a mindfulness thing? Like, do you mindfully just continue to practice and recognize when you say the word itself, or when you have the feeling attached to the word?
Yeah, it's really the feeling. Because if there's no feelings attached to it and you just think you're attached but you don't feel anything, then you're obviously not. But if this thing starts causing like emotional stress, then it's clearly a problem, and it's not a good attachment. There's good and bad attachments, but eventually all attachments become bad, in my opinion, because then you become reliant on it. And once you're reliant on something, then you no longer become self-sufficient. And if you're no longer self-sufficient, then you're screwed. You're fucked.
So, I mean, there's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You have like the basic needs like water, food, shelter, honestly, social, like being social with people. You have like the need for your parents, or for social interaction. But then there's like, I need a car, or I need a house, or I need this, right? So like you said, I think there are different levels of attachments and needs, but when we become reliant and dependent on an outcome, then we're never going to fully enjoy the practice, or what most would say process, to get there.
Or just enjoy the now. Because that
right.
is as the process, you can get engulfed in the process, because the process is not always right now. The process is a timeline, right? And but that's just, you know what I mean? Because a process is a step of goal, like a bunch of goals put together in which, like, you want to get to the big goal, right?
Yeah.
So that's just the way I look at it.
So people can confuse process and practice and think that if process is on a timeline, right? If you're trusting the process, you technically could be still orientating yourself in the future,
exactly.
Or orientating yourself in the past. That's why I say practice, because practice is a little more present.
That was one of the first things we talked about.
Yeah,
was process versus practice, and we used an example of like a GPS. And if you're too worried about the destination, you're not going to be worried about like where you're actually driving right now. Like, we just drove down to South Carolina. Perfect example. It's the first like hour of the drive. Gorgeous sunrise. It was like 6:30 in the morning. It was ridiculously early. If the only thing I'm worried about is South Carolina and getting there, I'm not going to take the time to like literally look to the left and see something that is gorgeous, because I'm just so worried about my destination rather than where I'm at. And I think in just life in general, people are always worried about where they're going to be or where they were. Well, you guys are just I'm just repeating what you guys said, basically.
And like even when we're on vacation, or when you are technically where your goal was, right? Like, let's say for you, your goal was to be in the major leagues, and you actually were in the major, like you now like teleport yourself into the major leagues right now. You're there?
Yeah.
Cool. So what's next? Like, there's always going to be a what's next.
Absolutely.
Always. But until you just fully enjoy right now, I don't know if that's like that's where you can probably truly feel abundance. Like
abundance. I like that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, repeat what you said about what's next. Just one more time.
You're always gonna, if you're constantly seeking something else, or seeking an outcome, right? Like, okay, for like now you're in the major leagues. Now I want to be in the Hall of Fame, right? Like, when is it ever gonna stop? It's not.
So, say that's the case, right? So say I'm looking in the future, and I'm like, okay, I want to get to the pros. What do I got to do to get there? Right? I take the appropriate steps to get there, and I say I luckily everything falls in the way it's supposed to, and I get there. Then when I get there, then what? I'm done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then there's no more goals. Then you're going to set another goal, and then you're going to be doing the same thing over and over again until you realize that it's you could set the goals. Once you set the goal, now it's time to come back, and it's time to be here. Because if you don't plan ahead, then yeah, you're giving yourself a disadvantage when it comes to like having a structured, organized direction to get to somewhere. But if you're just constantly living like you're there and you're not living where you are in right this moment, then you're probably never even going to get there.
Word. And bringing it back to attachment, it's like the structure that you set in place, if you attach yourself to that and something goes wrong, what's going to happen? You tweak out. You're going to bug out. Because, like, this went wrong, so I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. So, again, the end goal is making it. But if you attach yourself to the structure or the process of making it there, it's toxic. Mm-hmm. Rather than having that thought of, I want to make it somewhere, but really focusing on right now, it's like, okay, that happened. Sometimes I fell off course a little bit, but I'll hop back on. Last week we had a guest, Max Markey, and he talked about the laser theory or something. So yeah, when you point the laser at a target, if something blocks it, what do? He made a whole list of like be creative, and there's a whole list of things to do, but don't get caught up on it because you're attached to the structure that you set in place. Be adaptable, essentially.
I think attachment and like awareness are like needed for each other. And I'm gonna use the word needed in this situation. Although I said I don't like using that word.
There it is. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen.
But like, I mean, if you're not aware that you're attached, then you don't know you're attached. Therefore, you can do nothing to fix it.
Bro, if you're not aware that you can make a choice to sit back and breathe, you're not gonna sit back and breathe. Awareness is everything.
Choices.
Everything.
Everything is everything.
Fuck. One with one. One is
That's crazy, yo. Like I've just been caught up on this idea of choices lately because we do make choices every day, but it's almost like they're automatic. It's almost kind of like we're not choosing to do, like we're not consciously choosing to do it. We're subconsciously choosing to do it, and then we complain all the time about the outcome.
Is that walking through the motions then? Is that like the definition of walking through the motions?
That's why like I love when people say like, oh, be well, or you know when they like sign off an email and they're like, oh, be well, or best regards, or like sincerely. Sometimes I sign off my email to a stranger with stay conscious, Zach, and I get a response back sometimes, and they're like, ooh, like I liked your ending. I liked what you said, because not a lot of people say that. And what do you mean by that? And I literally say, be intentional about almost as many things as you can do throughout the day. As many things as you can. And it kind of goes back to the whole door handle thing. Yes, is getting caught up on a door handle toxic? It could be if that's all you're focusing on. But I'm talking about intentional decisions, doing things on purpose. Because when you do things on purpose, that's when you bring meaning. That's when you have a sense of control. You know, like what are your thoughts on having a sense of control? Because sometimes I feel like we lose control of ourselves and we just too weak for no reason.
I think losing control is thinking in that moment that you don't have a choice. Because oftentimes I myself do it consistently throughout the day where I think that like I have to do this. And like there are times where like I have to do something because it's like, say I have to do an assignment. I have to go to practice. I have to go to a game. I have to work out because whatever. Like, you just constantly like hopping. You know what I mean? You're constantly doing from thing to thing. You know. But like, if you're able to like bring it back to what I was saying, like detach from all these things and just appreciate them for what they actually are, which is just something to bring you joy, then that's when flow state happens.
Get to.
Yeah, get to versus have to. Yeah. Talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
whole episode. Let's go into something else here. Let's dive into the fact that people don't care what you do.
Oh, word. We talked about this earlier.
Like,
I love this. I love this part of this podcast.
I've been obsessed with this idea lately that I can do whatever I want within reason, right? Not just randomly just piss people off because I like it, right? But I can do whatever I want in terms of just walking on, walking in places people usually don't walk on, or sliding down railings, or, talking on FaceTime in public with, like loudly, or I don't know, something, obviously within reason and being respectful, but people don't care what you really have to do. And it's almost kind of like we really think people do care. We really think people care about what they think about us.
It's, in my opinion, it's due to one thing only. It's the fact that, like, we ourselves judge people. Therefore, we think people judge us. Whether you want to or not. Like, you're judging people subconsciously, or whatever the judgment is. You're always judging people. And I think that's why.
Word. I think if you could just say it doesn't matter, in most situations, the freedom that comes from that is exponential. Like, if I see somebody doing something obnoxious, doesn't matter. So when I do something obnoxious, I'm not going to think it matters.
Yeah.
Again, obviously, in a respectful level, but,
Yeah.
like
the three of us today were playing Frisbee on the quad.
ripping
and
it.
Just ripping
Ripping it.
Frisbees. And, I mean, I'm all over the place, jumping over the chains, in walkways, cutting people off, whatever. I'm not being a complete asshole, neither are all of us, but, some people wouldn't even step on the grass because there's chains there, right? Because there's this gated chain around the green. But people won't even step in the grass, but it's so natural for us to just go step in the quad, just step on the grass. But people don't even take that step over, Meanwhile, we're just ripping Frisbees across.
Yeah, because they might think that we care because they themselves judge.
Right.
So for them to judge, they always think that they're getting judged. Perfect example. We went golfing. South Carolina, we went golfing. And the first few holes, I was so caught up on the fact that, I thought people gave a fuck. Behind us. They might have.
Is that how you were playing?
Yeah, too
Okay.
fast or too slow.
Oh, I see.
And that was all I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't even playing that bad, but I couldn't enjoy it because I was so worried about who was behind us.
Until we stopped and just said, why?
Exactly.
Why are we thinking about what they care about?
And,
this is our time.
Word. And deep
Yeah.
down, but deep down though, if somebody was playing in front of me or in front of us, I would have given a fuck. Damn, they're playing slow. And that would have affected my game.
I
So
see.
if I didn't care about either or, freedom. Yeah. I'm living my life and I get to enjoy the moment because I'm not worried about what everybody cares about. I don't care if they care.
Yeah.
And I don't care if somebody's going to be in front of me slowing me down.
Yeah.
So you're being indifferent. You're just whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares? God.
But if it doesn't matter, then why do people still do it?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Because we know it doesn't matter. But why does no one else know that it doesn't matter?
I think because there's this deep-rooted subconscious idea that people care.
That everybody gives a fuck.
Everyone
Where did
gives
that
a
come
fuck.
from? Where did it come
Society, bro. Social constructs. The fitness industry, for example. You have to look a certain way.
Right, or that there's eyes on us.
Yeah, but in all reality, no one cares if I have a six-pack.
Yeah, no.
from? No one cares.
No.
And if they do, okay, cool. Maybe I can make a business out of it. But, who cares?
Yeah. It's
Live for you. I'm doing it for me.
There's FOMO, fear of missing out. Obviously, that's a term that's thrown around quite widely and people are familiar of. But then there's this FOPO idea, FOPO, FOPO, fear of people's opinions.
I never heard of that before.
I've never heard of that either.
That's dope. That's fire.
So when you're afraid of somebody else's opinion of you, you're not acting for you. You're acting for them
Yeah.
out of fear, and you don't even know it. It's like you just do it, and you're comfortable with it, but you're really not comfortable with it.
Well, I feel like when people do that, they're not aware of how their body's feeling. They're just like they're so used to how like the reaction their body makes that they don't understand like how important it is to like bring your presence to how you feel. Like people like run away from it for the most part. Like nobody wants to deal with like being like upset or like being like feeling like crap. Like no one wants to deal with that. And like once you realize that like it doesn't actually like matter. Like you can change it like that. Then like that's when you can like stop doing the things that like cause all this pain.
You've been mentioning the body a lot, and I love it. But for you to mention the body and the word you and have it being two separate things.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say this.
That's interesting to me, because if we are not our bodies, then what are we? Because our bodies give us the truth, right?
See, I'm going to be honest. This is where I like check out low key.
I
This
was gonna
shit,
ask you
it
something,
confuses me, bro.
Let's get into it.
Me. Yeah, let's
get
do
into
it, bro.
What is your thought process when I say that you can separate your ego from your body, from your spirit? Like, does that make sense?
Did you see my reaction on the quad? Like, why are you asking me that question?
I'm asking you because I want to know like what you actually think about it.
What
Like,
the fuck?
Like, do you just think nothing? Like, you just no thoughts coming out. You're like, well, I don't know.
It's like an I get it, but I don't.
Mm.
That's literally what it is. Like okay, but like what? Does that make sense at all?
Yes.
Yes.
So, like,
I mean,
I don't even think I fully understand what like spirit means, or like what ego means. But it's like I feel it. I guess I don't.
You feel the answers more than you know.
Yeah, like I couldn't tell you. I couldn't put it into words for you. But like today on the quad, when you were like, I'm able to separate my spirit from my. Yo, I have a. Yo. You want me to do something so I can figure it out?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know where you're at. You could probably put the 2 and 2 together.
Do you have the same ability as what I described when it comes to like earlier today when I said I was able to compartmentalize, like in my head, like paint a picture
Yes.
and make it become my reality?
Yes.
Because that's what I was able to do.
So, tell the audience.
Tell me. Like,
What does it mean to compartmentalize and to recognize the difference between, like what you said, spirit, ego, and...
So the best way I guess I can put it is that I'm able to, in my head, look at my ego and my body like as one, because that's the best. That's how I choose to look at it, because I have the choice, and I choose to look at that ego and body from my spirit, because my spirit is my true, authentic self, and some people never even discover their true, authentic self, which is honestly kind of sad to think about, because all it does is bring you joy, and it's incredible, honestly.
Because that's its only purpose. It's to love.
Love.
So, you said
Compartmentalize.
I said carpal tunnel. I was going to say carpal tunnel.
Word.
Compartmentalize, right? What does that look like in real life?
Yeah, like what do you like actually see or like actually feel? Like, can you put it into words for me? Like,
Yes.
what it means to you, or like what it actually is?
I don't know if I could say what it means, but I can give you a clear picture on how I can show you.
That's all I need.
So picture a box that has a line down the middle with my ego and body like thrown on one side and my spirit thrown on the other side. And then picture a window in between in which it goes up and down. Not like side to side, up and down. Like you can like close it, shut it, whatever. And whenever I want, I can open it and look at my ego and body from my spirit.
So what is ego and body?
My ego and body is what I've realized, at least just for myself, because this is all an experience thing. Like, my ego is my identity. Like, it's Mike Campbell. That's my ego, right? Like, it has its flaws. It does what it thinks it should do. But after realizing that, like, Mike Campbell isn't my spirit. My spirit is who I am, like, when I'm by myself. When I'm like, no one's around and I'm doing me and I don't give a fuck.
Word.
Like, it doesn't matter
No labels.
what
no
anyone
Mike
thinks.
Campbell's.
You don't give
no
a fuck what anyone thinks.
No baseball team.
No baseball team. Just, there's no name for it. It's just it. It's an essence. It's
presence.
I am.
presence.
It's I am.
I am.
It's I am. Yes, it's I am.
Word. See, that made me get it.
It's an energy. It's a loving energy that you can. That's always there.
Always.
But you have to open the window, and you have to you have to walk from the ego and body through the window. You have to crawl through the window and be on this side.
Do you see your body like crawling through the window?
No, I mean, yeah, right now I do when I'm describing. I like picture myself leaping through the window, and now my body and ego, they get left behind. Like you know how like the picture of like a ghost coming out of your body when you're dead. That's exactly the way I would put it. As soon as you jump through the window, there's an invisible barrier that just stops your ego and body, and it gets left behind, and your spirit just goes straight through, and it's free.
Shit.
It's
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah, that helped.
Yeah.
That actually helped a lot.
It's like by paying attention to our body, it's the key to understanding the spirit. By paying attention to our emotional, our visceral reactions to things. For example, if someone just walked in that door, stuck up their middle finger at me, and I started to feel my heart rate race, by paying attention to the heart rate rising, I'm able to separate myself from me and my body, right? So my body is giving me the clue that I'm becoming upset. Like, this is getting me angry, right? But by recognizing that there is a difference between my heart racing and my perception of the heart racing, I'm drawing that window. I'm creating that boundary between what my body's doing and where my spirit is. So when we look at our body and we understand our emotional reactions and reactivities to whatever happens in life, or the environmental stimuli, when we analyze what our body does, it almost gives us a key to our soul and to what truth really is.
Or I feel like I do that, but like it's only like 15% unlocked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's definitely
There's
like,
that. Yeah.
there's definitely like the window's not always open. Like
no.
like it's sometimes halfway open. Sometimes it's like
Fully
barely open.
Sometimes it's fully open.
Sometimes it's
fully open.
Like,
It's not even there.
fully open.
It's not even there. The line is gone. There's no wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not something that really words will like do it no justice.
I
Like,
get that. No, I get that, bro. He
Yeah.
knows. Like I'm a feeler.
what do I always say? It's a state of experience being. Like, to understand it, you have to experience it and like get to a point where like you're able to experience it.
Again, though, but it's also education too. So like now that I know it, and like now that I pictured it and like kind of understood it, not that I'm gonna be looking out for it, but I feel as if when it happens,
You're gonna recognize it.
like okay, perfect example. I'm in an exercise statistics class, and today for one of the assignments or whatever it was, we had to check our heart rate.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, whenever people tell me to check my heart rate goes up.
Same.
And in that moment, like, I get it. Like, I did it, but I didn't know I was doing it. Like, I was like, oh, this is happening. I'm going to kind
I
of
see.
separate,
Longer exhale. Wow, this is coming full circle.
take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Comes back down to 59. Shot up to 75. Now it's back down to 59.
It's that mindfulness of separating.
Word. And now that I get it even further, I think I'm going to recognize those moments even more. That was just one moment of a 12-hour day. Like, who knows how many more there were that I just missed completely.
And then you realize you're living two different lives, my friend.
That's what we're talking about when we say that we're living two different lives. Like,
Word.
that distinction, like, it's come to the point where it's so like distinguishable. Like, you just see it in like your head, and you're like, okay,
bro, like now I'm recognizing, like, for me to be like, is that people pleasing earlier today? That was such an idiotic statement.
I wash.
I wash.
As fuck.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
And I just get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's there. It's there. It's definitely there.
It's like I want to just roll in the grass, sing, and talk and hug everyone. That's literally what I want.
I just want to do handstands.
Handstands
in the middle of the gym and not give a fuck about what anybody thinks.
And I just want to roam free. I want to just hike. I just want to go. I just want to do, right? That's what one life is telling me. And the other life is telling me, sit your ass down and do that paper. Sit your ass down and get that scholarship done. Sit your ass down and make a name for Zach Olivan, will you? Jesus, right?
Who's talking to you? Who is it?
In which case?
It's your ego.
Yeah, in that case, it's my ego.
Yes,
because my ego is attaching to this idea that I need to be someone or be somewhere or do something.
Because that's all your ego's ever known.
That's my exactly. But I'm not saying that's bad thing. Like we need our egos. We need them
to be a functioning society,
right?
Human
to
society.
function in society.
You do.
We can't just roll in the grass and tickle each other all day. Imagine just having just ripping tickle fights.
That'd be tight.
Like, that'd be crazy. Imagine you just fully ripping tickle fights everywhere we go. Just tickling people.
Or like ripping ass.
Or just ripping. Yes. Just because it's natural. Just because it's natural to fart everywhere.
Social constructs. Fuck them.
You know what? I texted my mom the other day. Or I actually called her. I said, Mom, I even texted you this too. I was like, what if people just started farting unapologetically and just not caring? Like, what would happen? And I guess, like, gut instinct is to say, well, the world would be a little stinkier place.
That's what I said. That's the first thought that came to my mind.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So she had the same thought. And then she was like, well, like, you're just going to be a dick. Like, people are just going to think you're an asshole. And, like, you have no regard for manners.
Because that's what society has structured it to be.
What if you don't care?
They probably don't even care. What if that person was like, good for him? He farted.
I've said that before in my head.
Yeah, like, good for that. Good for that guy.
Good for you. I don't have the balls.
Yeah.
Like,
farting in class.
Like me doing a me doing a handstand in the middle of the gym. I could have easily been like, oh, like people are gonna judge me. Blah, 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 blah. But what if there was one dude in the corner that was like, good for that guy.
Yeah.
Just cheering me on. Who knows? So why care? It's like hope. Who knows? So why give a fuck?
You should live for your spirit, not for your
Word.
ego. That's like,
ooh.
I haven't said that one before. I just came up with that on the spot.
What did you just say?
I don't know.
You forgot already.
I'm not even joking. Like, this whole podcast, like, you guys have been talking, and like, I've been so present where I've just been forgetting everything.
Good for you.
You said I live for my spirit.
Yeah,
Or
you should live for your spirit, not for your ego. But unfortunately, you need a balance of both.
Word. I feel like the ego gets you a job.
Yes.
The spirit makes you not have to walk through the motions.
The spirit allows you to live
Enjoy.
an emotionally free life, in a sense.
Word.
Because emotional freedom is kind of insane if you think about it. Because people a lot of times are really caught and trapped in their emotions. Like, I am consistently too, but I now have the tools to be able to take myself out of it.
Right. That's good. You're allowing yourself to feel them. I think I'm a firm believer in allowing yourself to feel your emotions. Emotions are so good. We need emotion. It's an amazing thing. However, being able to snap out, being able not just to snap out, but being able to recognize that emotion, where it's coming from, why it's happening, what it's doing to you, finding out those answers first, and then being able to say, it's okay. Allowing yourself to feel is super important, but by also giving yourself the choice to say, it's okay, I think that's where the freedom comes.
Word. Just quick question. You need emotions?
Dick.
Sorry.
I
had to.
Did you pick up on it too?
I was thinking of something else. No.
Oh yeah, I didn't even. Oh man, that's good. That's good. You got me.
But I get you every time I can.
Do you really think emotions are good and bad?
I think they're good always.
What? No. Like what? What do we think?
No, I think
are emotions
good
good or bad, or are they neither?
I think would be easy for us to judge things of whether they're good and bad, especially emotions. However, if we just allow the emotion to exist, it's neither good or bad. It just is.
So it's perception.
So it's perception. Everything's perception.
So I like to think, everything, not everything. Like hard drugs, maybe not. Like heroin, nah. But like most things, in moderation, in your control, are good. If you could control it, most things in this world are good. When you lose control and you do something sporadically or because it's extremely pleasurable, so on and so forth, that's when it becomes bad. When you have control over things, for the most part, they're good. Attachment. If you can control the attachment, good.
Thank you. That's what I was gonna say.
Nice.
You spoke
we're
the words
just
I was
finishing
thinking.
each other's sentences. We're just on the same.
I was
all
about to
three
say
of
that,
us.
and you just said it. And I was-
Word. We're gonna
it
end.
all?
We're gonna end on that note. To be honest, we're 53 minutes deep. So.
Oh my god, what?
Crazy,
I didn't realize
crazy.
it was that long.
Presence.
But I
Type
do want
shit.
to ask him one last question.
Yeah, of course.
Final word. This is my favorite part. Final words. Well, for now, they're not final, but just any last words for the
For this moment.
For this moment to the audience who's listening.
Break free of the system.
Word. The bone.
Yeah.
We talked.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was...